So George, obviously a week off last week, but before that the defeat here at home to Sale in the last home game of the season. Now you've had an extra week to look back at that. What are your thoughts looking back on that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was a fierce contest. Sale are obviously a very good team and have been all year. And they came down fully loaded. So I think the boys, they put their best foot forward. I think, there was a couple of tries we should have taken, if we're honest, and a couple of tries we sort of gifted them with a kick down the middle of the field and a spilt breakdown. And they took two relatively easy tries. So, there was a lot of good stuff in that game. I thought our attack was brilliant. We had 11 line breaks, which is high for the Premiership. As I say, the important bit is we finished those off, which has been a bit of a story of the season. So we're aware of that. But, I thought the physicality in defence against a very big team was outstanding. As I say, the bravery in attack and the work rate was good. But as I say, we probably left two tries out there from our perspective and gave them too easy. So things we need to work on.
And obviously you've had that extra week to stew on it. So how have the lads sort of reacted to that defeat, and how hungry are they to get back out there for one last time this weekend?
Yeah, we're disappointed with that defeat because obviously we wanted to win it, and I thought the boys left enough out there to win it. But again, we move on quick, and we're on to Bristol this week, which is a really important game. We know Champions Cup rugby's on the line. We're very focused on Bristol, very aware that's a very old Gloucester derby, so that's important to us as well. But the boys, good training at the back end of last week, moved into this week, and had a good training session today.
And obviously there's been plenty of injuries so far this season, but how good was it to see Adam and George back out on the pitch last week?
Yeah, it was great to get a couple of numbers back. It was gave us a bit of energy. I think it was. I think the squad enjoyed. You were starting to get a few bodies back out there in training, and you can see the intensity of training upping, which is great. But yeah, I thought both those guys were brilliant. I thought they put a big shift in, and credit to our medical and conditioning team really, because they looked like they hadn't really been away.
And Bristol coming up this weekend, then they're always a tough team to play against, aren't they? With particularly how they attack.
Yeah, they're really, really hard teams to sort of analyse and put things in place, because they've got some rock stars in there with Piatow and Radrada and players like that who you analyse them, you watch them, but they're going to produce things that are unexpected. They can step off both feet. They offload out the tackle. And we've got to be mentally very, very switched on. Obviously we'll train as best we can, but ultimately you've got to be switched on the day, and you've got to have everybody reacting around that, because they will do some special things.
And obviously it's a West Country derby, it doesn't take much to get up for, but with the Champions Cup qualification potentially on the line as well, it doesn't seem like there's much that you can't get up for that one.
No, I think it's one of the few games in the Premiership with something on top of it this end of the season, where top four's established, and as you say, we're playing for Champions Cup rugby. We're aware of that, and it's a local derby, so lots on the line.
And obviously, after the game against Sale as well, it was announced that Seb Atkinson was the fan-voted player of the season, Valma Pavlovsky as well, the fan-voted player of the season. So how happy are you for them?
Yeah, I think Seb's had a brilliant impact since he's been here. He came in after pre-season, we're into the first part of the season, so it took a few weeks for him to sort of get on track with what we're doing, but once we got him out there and he's got stuck in, he's been outstanding, and he's been one of our best players this season, and his approach to the job and the team and everything is spot on, and he's really growing nicely into one of the sort of lead players out there. Like I say, his performances and his approach has been outstanding, so we're very lucky that we ended up getting him here.
And Steve Barney obviously became the latest player to commit to the club last week. So just a word on him.
Yeah, look, Steve's been brilliant. I think, when I first came in, gave Steve quite a lot of game time because I could see the potential in him. And I think he's brilliant. He's obviously got his raw skills, his speed, his vision to find a hole, but he's worked really hard on his all-round game, and, he's transferred that onto the international stage. And again, he still knows he's got lots to improve on, and where his ceiling is, we won't know yet for a little while. So very exciting. I'm very, very pleased he decided to stay.
And Steve is obviously one of those players that will be hoping to get some minutes at the upcoming Rugby World Cup. So does that make add to the occasion this weekend, with the fact that they'll obviously, hopefully, not be available for the start of next season?
No, I mean, I don't think anyone's thinking towards the World Cup at this point. I think it's very much that, we know this is our last game for this season, no matter what. So it's really important that we keep pushing the areas of the game we've worked hard on all season, and we want to finish with a good, positive performance and a win, because it's important for us. All the work we've put in all year, we've not had the season we wanted. We're not shying away from that at all. But we've been very focused on getting better all the time, and we want to show that on the last game.
And finally, a word on the Hartpury relationship. I know there's quite a few boys out there for their last game of the season a couple of weeks ago, so I know you're very thankful that some of the boys have been able to get some minutes up there.
Yeah, we've got a really good relationship with Hartpury, and we've had a lot of lads play a lot of minutes for them this year, and they've had a good a good finish to the season, and they actually had a really strong push. If they hadn't lost a couple of games in the last bit, they would have been right up there. So they've had a good season. We've like I say, our relationship's very good, and I know the boys who've had game time there, we're very grateful for that, because they've really enjoyed playing there and really benefit from it.